Welcome everyone. Just to share with you what the Algo Optimizer is doing and a few other strategies, and we'll go over um, a lot of things here that the market's doing. So if you can take a look, we are currently long a couple contracts. This is an indicator first and foremost. That's a doji. Orange means if you're a candlestick aficionado, a couple things you would recognize is that red is a lower close and open. Green is a higher close and open. That's all candlestick analysis gives us. But based on my proprietary signals call we created back and published back in 2002, I think was the first time it actually was released at a teaching we did for the Chicago Board of Trade. Call it the high close doji. Market closes greater than a doji, and there's holding periods and risk factors and where to place stops and all kinds of neat things that come with this. It's a system actually. So we're long the market, and you can see here's your entry on the long, and it's going to hold that position until we get out of it. Now, there's some other indicators that you don't see here that are part of the John Person Lifetime Package on TradeStation. One, this is a histogram. This histogram is a momentum indicator that actually tells you the strength of the trend in price. This is a price-only based indicator. And what it does is it relates to the buy signal, these proprietary moving averages, and the relationship of the close and the distance of the moving averages and the price to the moving averages. So if price gets too far away from the moving average, the histogram bar would go straight up. That would be these green bars here. And that's the person histogram bar. Next is this volume indicator. Now this is a proprietary volume indicator that's based on percent change in volume, not relative actual price change. And so when we get a momentum move, a moving average cross, and a histogram, it helps to signify that there is volume and there's a change in the market. Now, just for smiles and grins, as many of you know, that was tough for me to say because I would have said the other phrase. But anyway, smiles and giggles. This is a fast stochastics, and then we threw up the slow stochastics, and then this is on balance volume. Lately, in the last 2 years, I've been more trusting of my volume indicator than I have this, and many different reasons why. But I thought I'd throw the kind of the kitchen sink in here of indicators to say, are some better than others? Based on this one single setup, I mean, they all fired off at about the same time. I guess you could look at the stochastics being oversold. This is crude oil, not much happening today. We'll get back to this trade in a minute. What is happening today? Well, let's take a look at the board, and this is my board. What do we have here? Well, let's take a look. We've got the person market catcher relative strength indicator with its strength of its moving average. We have our sector ETFs, and you can see this is looking at a daily basis. This is our daily trend, new fresh daily signals. This is a brand new addition for my VIP Pug members, and this is daily high and low close doji. What's so special about this? Well, even on a weekly basis, as you can kind of see here, if it's flashing and blinking, it means that for that time period, that's what's going to be a fresh signal. Now, if we go all the way over here, you would see that would be USO. USO is flashing. If it closes here or higher on Friday, and today's not Friday, today's Thursday, then this will generate a new signal. It's warning me right now what could be. So I can look at this and start to prepare, gee, if I'm not already long crude oil, do I want to be long crude oil? So we have some of the indicators here, and I thought it would be best to share with you. Here is the person market catcher. It's a relative strength indicator. We've given this out, and many of you, if you look at my other YouTube videos, you'll see that we added this to the person or the collection of the person indicators on Thinkorswim. So there's really only two platforms that have this right now, Thinkorswim and, of course, TradeStation with my Lifetime. So this is exclusive. It's a very dynamic and I think probably one of the more powerful indicators out there when it reveals looking at stocks and ETNs to the overall market. This is on balance volume. Anyone can have it. And this is my volume indicator. So basically, all I'm saying is that that arrow is a PPS indicator, and it's flashing right now. If we close at 13 or greater right now, and if it was Friday, this would generate a buy signal, USO. What about the rest of the market segment? You can see that looking at daily signals today, what's generating a lot of sell signals? Well, we have aerospace and defense. We have real estate investment trust, IYR. We have IYT, transportation. We're looking at the insurers, KIE. We're looking at SLX is the steel sector ETF, and that's really getting ugly. In fact, it has been, if you go over and look at this, and it says low close doji, it's not blinking because it had generated a sell signal, and it had been in a weekly downtrend. So we can immediately find out what's going on with this segment of the market. So let's take a look at how these specific tools on the person's lifetime package hold up with the current market, and did they give good warnings? So as you can see, I'm struggling to get on balance volume into scale, which has been it is one of those issues. It has, but on many platforms. Down below, you'll find there's a blank quadrant, and this is a commitment of traders report, which will only populate readings or a graph when we use a commodity. What we're looking at is an ETF, the SLX, right? So this right here is the Vector Steel ETF. And as you can see, it generated a sell signal, and the relative strength bars have been weakening over time. Now, my volume indicator also smoothed out, and the histogram, the momentum component, also, if I go straight up, has been weakening. So while a lot of people thought that steel and the tariffs and this would be great for the market, and actually, as you can see, it did an opposite effect. So I'm going to go through and walk you through some stocks that I think, or sectors of the market, if I may, that we started to see this week. In fact, let's take a look at the thoughts and observations in the comments that we put out Saturday for all our clients. Oh boy. Well, I don't know what to tell you, gang. You know I gave this out yesterday on the last video. It had been short. The algo got out, and I said it probably won't go long, and we talked about this in our trading room, and it did. Unfortunately, if it generates a signal on the close, it can't get in until the open. And you know, the funny thing is, I gave a great story about a famous floor trader in the bond pit, Tom Baldwin. And Tom Baldwin was famous because the guy was just a whale. He was the deal. He would take on Plaza City. Richie Dennis, who, as many of you know, was the head of C&D Commodities, or the creator of the Turtle Traders. Tom Baldwin was so wealthy, he bought a skyscraper. We used to joke it wasn't quite a skyscraper, but it was called the Rookery Building on LaSalle Street in Chicago. Kind of a famous place because they filmed the movie The Untouchables with Sean Connery and Kevin Costner. So if you ever saw the movie The Untouchables, that was in the scene where they throw a guy off a balcony in an interior of a building with a spiral staircase. Well, that was the Rookery Building. What's the point of this story? Tom Baldwin said, you know, the trades that make me feel the most queasiest, like butterflies in my stomach, those are the best ones. So I give that story out today because this trade that you're looking at right here gave me queasiness because I just didn't feel comfortable. There would have been a stop down here on a gap like that, and I would have felt, I was like, oh, it just went long. Oh, I don't know, man. Trump's talking today. We've got the import, the tariffs. Oh. And, while we will have a trailing stop feature and a stop loss function, I was feeling a little bit nervous today. And as you can see, another new equity high in the VXX Algo Optimizer. Now, this is a product that comes with its own, and as you can see here, we are using the original version, even though that we give out the upgrades when they are available. We only had 78 total licenses to provide, and there are, I think, 16 now, and there's after that we don't market this, it's done. So with that said, when you go to looking at format, you can see a couple things, and this is the same formula. It's using position calc method number one, and I keep talking about the other functions and the features of money management. There's like 9 different things that go in here that everyone can optimize for periods of volatility. Percent change of risk reward ratio, percent change of you know what, if the market gets close to my max profit, then at 10% or 20% or 50%, I want to scale a stop, and on that stop function I want to make sure I either break even or take a little something off the table. So there are all kinds of things that you can optimize to find out what the best performance is. Someone had asked me, what's the holding period in the market? And you know, it's not always in the market. There are periods that it is out of the market until it generates a signal. But you know what's interesting is that you look at these trends in the market right now, right? I mean, we are in a period of volatility. These are swings, man. This is a trading range. And so if you think about it in terms of that, you want this thing to be trading both sides of the market. After a 9-year bull market, I think we're going to have periods of setbacks. So we want to have long trades. We also have a fund version where it only takes shorts, because at the end of every mini crash in the stock market, there's a recovery. And when a market has a mini crash, you get these big upsides in volatility. And then what happens? The volatility goes straight back down. So you want to be short, and but in this environment, we want longs and shorts. Right now, it is, as you can see, long, and it is already up about $4,400, $4,500 right now. So not a bad little trade for, again, just today. This is sick stuff, because this thing has just provided what most people can't do in a year. It's done in this just first quarter. So let's take a look at the overall performance. So I don't want you to think it's a different program, a different thing. It's the same one, different equity curve. These green dots signify new equity highs. Periodic returns. Here you can see it. I just said it was up 4,500. I meant 4,600. Sorry about that. It got stopped out. Now this is from the 20th to the 21st. Remember, it was in a trade. It didn't have profit, and then it just carries it over. So it's just giving you the mark-to-market carryover trade from one day, from the 12th to the 13th, or through the weekend, for example, and what it's doing. So we got daily returns. We can take a look at annual returns. We could take a look at the average weekly returns. And you know, there's been some weeks that it's had some back in December during the holiday period. There were some drawdowns, but you can see clearly there's outweighing of profits more so than there are of losses. Let's look at the monthly calculations. As I shared with everyone the other day, we have through the period as we go back. I mean, there's some times this was a really great time frame in September, in 16 in November. Obviously a big drawdown there, but as you can tell through the years, now we're going to look at the annual. So you take a look at the annual return, if you can just, and that's why we talk about surviving and understanding a trading system, because it doesn't make money every single trade. But right now the thing's on fuego is a little understatement. In the last 12-month period, or at least year to date, up 90 grand on a $100,000 account. This is crazy amount of money. So we are really ecstatic about this product, and why we have been promoting the Algo Optimizer, so that we give people the settings for this product. And that's why there's only 78 licenses, because we can't mass market this, and it's something that we're trading with the fund. So I hope you enjoyed this and got a good explanation of what's happening with the new signals and everything that we've put together, as well as how the person's lifetime indicators, the difference between the person's market catcher is really a formidable tool, as well as combining it with volume. Thanks everybody, and I hope you enjoyed this update.